Marcus, 56, scrolls TikTok in bed, one eye squinting from the blue light, when the sound hits him first. Some smug audio clip with the punchline. When your man isn't a real man, but you pay the rent anyway. He almost swipes past it, thinking it's another recycled couple's joke, until he sees her face. Lila, his wife, sitting in their kitchen, wearing one of his old flannels like it's a costume, smirking like a kid who just told a dirty joke at a family dinner. She mouths the words perfectly, tilts her head with that same exaggerated sass she uses when mocking TV hosts. The caption says, "Normalize being the breadwinner #NotMyMan #landlord energy," and the kicker? In the comments, their mutual friend Sasha left, "Oop, tell him to take notes from my ex." Lila replied with a fire emoji and a crying laughing face. Marcus doesn't blink. He doesn't even move his thumb. He just watches it again, this time noticing the details. That it's filmed in their apartment, the one he secured, he renovated, he managed through his own damn company. That she used his old hoodie as a prop. That she tagged her lifestyle channel, trying to ride the algorithm like it's some wave she can surf into influencer heaven. He scrolls down. Over 600 likes in an hour. She's replying to DMs now. He hears the notification pings from her phone charging on the other side of the bed. Her back is to him, shoulders twitching from silent laughter. He's not tagged, of course. That would have been too honest. He locks his phone screen, stares at the ceiling for a beat, then unlocks it again, but not TikTok this time. Gmail. New message. Subject: lease withdrawal, apt 4B. One sentence. 17 words. No threats. No drama. Just precision. The way a surgeon makes a single cut before walking away from the table. To anyone who's ever had the rug pulled out from under them publicly. Yeah, you get it. But do me a favor, will you? If you're listening to this and you're not subscribed, hit that button. More than 97% of listeners aren't, and it really helps the team keep telling these stories exactly how they deserve to be told. Anyway, back to the story. He attaches the document. Ownership transfer. Dated 6 months prior. Signed by the board. His board. Her name never made it on. Despite all the time she bragged about our property. She never read the fine print. Never once asked why her name wasn't on the water bill. Just assumed she wore the crown because she was louder. He doesn't sigh. Doesn't even get angry. He just clicks send. Then, calmly and methodically, he opens his password manager. Removes her from every shared utility account. Gas, electric, Wi-Fi. Cancels her Netflix profile, deletes her from the Amazon Prime household. Shuts down her access to the HOA portal, even the dog grooming subscription she loved so much. Gone. Not in a burst. Not with vengeance. Just gone. She still hasn't noticed. Still giggling over her phone. Probably editing another video. Probably lining up filters to make herself look just a little more innocent. A little more desirable. A little more like a woman burdened with a man who can't keep up. She never asked how the rent gets paid. Never realized he hadn't paid rent in years because he owned the building. Bought it from a retiring friend during COVID when property prices dropped and the world was distracted. She didn't ask. And he didn't volunteer. Because real men don't advertise. They build. Quietly. Underground if they have to. And when the moment's right, they don't explode. They vanish. By morning, her name will be the only one left on a lease she doesn't understand. In an apartment she thought was a trophy. He turns off his phone. Finally smiles. Let her refresh her notifications. Let her count her likes. Let her go viral. She has no clue the building she mocked him from is about to lock her out. Started small. Like most quiet betrayals do. A raised eyebrow here. A sarcastic, "Wow, babe. So glamorous." There, Lila had a talent for wrapping insults in sugar. For spitting on his shoes and calling it perfume. When her YouTube channel went from makeup tutorials to lifestyle empowerment, Marcus noticed the tone shift. At first, she was thrilled to have him in the background. Her rock, her stability. But as the subscriber count crept past 20K, then 50K, then 100K, that rock became a paperweight. She started calling him landlord boy on camera. A joke, she insisted. It's just a character. My followers love it. Don't be so sensitive. Then came the guest appearances on podcasts. One in particular where she smirked and said, "He's not the breadwinner, he's the bread receptionist. I pay for everything that matters." The hosts howled with laughter. Marcus didn't react. Didn't even watch the full clip. He was busy finalizing the acquisition of a second building. One she didn't even know he had shares in. See, Lila was loud, visibly successful, flashy, all neon and noise. Marcus was drywall and locking mechanisms, leases and spreadsheets. She showed people her life. He controlled the stage it happened on. And she never asked how. She never asked why. Their apartment? She thought it came from a family friend hookup. Didn't. He negotiated the mortgage, moved it into a trust, then created a management LLC under his name, then another holding company with silent partners who never spoke. Not to her, not to anyone. She just assumed her name was on everything. "We're married," she once said. "So it's ours, right?" He smiled. "Sure." She never read the lease. He had offered once, left it on the counter, said, "You should probably look this over before you sign." She waved a hand. "You handle that stuff, landlord boy." So he did. He added a clause, right beneath the standard co-occupancy section. In the event of a named guarantor's withdrawal, co-tenant is subject to market rate or vacate within 30 days. Bolded. Plain English. Right there between the pest control clause and the air filter replacement schedule. Lila had scrawled her signature in pink glitter pen at the bottom. "Done. Can we eat now? I'm starving." And when her channel took off, when the brand deals started coming, she never once thought to double-check who actually owned the things she flaunted. He was the one who bought the mirror she filmed in, the couch she posed on, the lighting rig she insisted was necessary for growth. The bills were all in his name, but she posted captions like, "When he can't afford your vision, so you become the vision." It wasn't the mockery that hurt. It was the arrogance, the delusion that being seen meant being secure. Marcus wasn't flashy, but he was fast, silent, methodical, like termites behind drywall. When she threw a launch party for her personal brand, she made him wear a name tag. "Lila's husband," it said in cursive. She laughed and kissed his cheek, saying, "You're my best +1," in front of her PR manager, 3 TikTokers, and a guy she swore was just business. Marcus didn't flinch, just grabbed a soda and nodded through it. That night, he logged into the HOA portal and removed her access. Every condescending comment, every fake empowerment speech where she stood on the back of his work and claimed she built it herself, he stored it away like receipts. By the time the TikTok went viral, Marcus had already rerouted the utility bills, changed the building's insurance policy, and moved the trust to a new custodian under a different name. She thought she was the star. But stars burn fast. Infrastructure lasts. So while Lila counted likes and hashtagged her way into minor fame, Marcus added one last clause. Quiet, unassuming, right at the end of the lease renewal form, which she didn't have time to read. It was called the Voluntary Relinquishment Adjustment. But it only worked if the other tenants stopped reading, which of course she had. By morning, Lila's phone sounded like a slot machine in a casino. Dings, buzzes, chimes, all lighting up her screen before she even opened her eyes. She rolled over with a groggy grin, hair a mess, eyes still crusted with sleep. 50,000 views, she whispered, like she just whispered the winning lottery numbers to herself. Then louder, "Babe, you seeing this? I told you that one would blow up." Marcus didn't respond. He was sitting at the kitchen counter, sipping coffee like he always did, slow, methodical, unbothered. A laptop open in front of him, screen angled just enough away from her. Not that she noticed. She never noticed. Lila twirled into the kitchen like she was floating on air. "I got 3 DMs from brands already. One of them's a skincare line. The other is some wellness podcast. They want me to come on next week to talk about toxic marriages and self-made women." She made finger quotes like it was all a joke, like it didn't have names, like he didn't have ears. She kissed Marcus on the cheek without looking at him and then flopped onto the couch, opening her Instagram and posting a screenshot of the TikTok's view count with the caption, "When they finally see what I've dealt with #unfiltered #realtalk." Marcus's eyes didn't move from the laptop screen. His fingers quietly typed in the admin password for the property portal. He checked the lease logs, verified the withdrawal notice had been digitally timestamped and legally sealed. Then he cross-checked utility accounts, water, power, trash, and confirmed the transition from joint billing to primary tenant unverified. He clicked confirm. No alarms, no drama, just gravity doing its job. From the couch, Lila was still giggling at a comment. "Lumfu not the landlord being the housewife," she typed back. "Right? He even folds my laundry." He did, once, before she accidentally filmed it for a TikTok without asking. Now, the only thing he folded were accounts. Quietly, one by one, the Apple Family Plan, the streaming bundle, the shared cloud storage where she kept all her editing files. Gone. Access revoked. She'd figure it out eventually, but not yet. Not while she was basking in the digital warmth of faux sympathy and parasocial praise. "Can you believe some of these girls think I'm like, oppressed?" she called out, laughing. "Babe, you've officially been memed." Marcus looked up. "Guess I'm famous." "Don't be salty," she said, winking. "It's content. You're the setup for the punchline. I make us relatable." He sipped his coffee. "Yeah, relatable." On her screen, the view count passed 60K. She screenshot it again, posted another story. She hadn't eaten yet, didn't brush her teeth, but she'd already drafted a reply to the podcast team. "Would love to come on. It's time women stopped pretending their partners were providers." Marcus copied the property ledger into a folder on his desktop, uploaded it to a private drive, then checked one last time. Her name wasn't anywhere in the legal ownership. Not on the mortgage. Not on the title. Not even in the HOA bylaws. She was a guest with decorative pillows and a camera ring light. Nothing more. "Hey," she called again. "You okay with me posting another one tonight? I have this idea where I do a fake eviction notice. Like, POV. When your man gets salty you went viral. Funny, right?" He nodded. "Hilarious." She laughed like a seal clapping for fish. He emailed a backup copy of the withdrawal notice to himself, just in case, then watched as she filmed herself fake crying in the bathroom mirror, rehearsing lines for her next hit. "When your man is the biggest deadweight in your life, but you carry him anyway." She had no idea the metaphor was about to get very, very literal. 50,000 views and counting. And not a single one would see the part where she gets locked out. The cursor blinked in the empty email body, as if daring him to say more. Marcus didn't. He typed, "Effective immediately. I withdraw my name from the joint lease of apartment 4B. No greeting. No sign-off. Just the sentence. Clean. Final. Clinical." He attached one file, a notarized PDF showing transfer of ownership, signed, dated, and logged in county records exactly 163 days ago. It had been a quiet transaction. The original landlord had retired, and Marcus had purchased the property through his holding company. The LLC name was nondescript, designed to deflect attention, Wisteria Urban Holdings, LLC. Lila wouldn't have recognized it if she tripped over it. He hit send. No dramatic music. No burst of adrenaline. Just the quiet hum of his laptop fan and the distant sound of Lila laughing in the bedroom as she recorded another TikTok. Probably some scripted bit about how I knew my husband wasn't the one when he bought a PS4 instead of a Peloton. He opened the password vault next. Search term, joint. The first result, utilities login. Gas, electric, water. All auto-paid under a card tied to his personal business account. He removed her user access with 2 clicks. Updated the payment settings to manual pay. The second result, Wi-Fi. He logged into the admin portal and changed the network name from Lilibran to tenant_unverified, then changed the password. Amazon household, removed. Apple family sharing, removed. Spotify Duo, downgraded to individual. The Disney Plus account she used to stream while editing late at night, logged out on all devices. He let her keep Netflix, only because he knew she was piggybacking on her sister's account anyway. Banking access? Already separated. He'd quietly opened a new checking account 3 months back. Moved all bill autopays there, left the joint account for appearances. Her last direct deposit had bounced there from a makeup brand affiliate deal. He didn't touch it. Let her keep the illusion a little longer. Then came the calendar. Their shared Google Calendar had guest episode, femme-powered podcast, scheduled for Thursday. He opened the event. Typed in a private note, "She'll be free, fully," closed the tab. From the hallway, he heard her knock something over, followed by, "Oops, real-life husband fail, y'all. Look at this mess." He didn't react, just moved to the final step. He logged into the building's management portal, selected Unit 4B. Under co-residence, he unchecked her name. The system flagged a warning. No financial guarantor listed for remaining occupant. Proceed. He clicked yes. System updated. Tenant status changed from shared lease to unsecured month-to-month. Just like that, her safety net gone. She thought her audience was her fortress, her followers, her brand, her scripted authenticity. But the floorboards were his. The pipes were his. The lease? His. The locks? His. And now the patience? Also gone. He closed the laptop and stretched his arms. There was a power in invisibility, in moving like fog while the other person danced in spotlights. She hadn't noticed yet. She wouldn't, not until the call came. Not until the Wi-Fi blinked out mid-upload. Not until her name didn't pull up on the maintenance request form. Not until the property app bounced back with access denied. And by then, the trapdoor would already be open. She would think it was sudden. She'd call it sabotage. She'd post a story about how men hate strong women. But none of this was hate. It was housekeeping. Lila's phone buzzed at 9:17 a.m., right as she was arranging a sponsored skincare kit for a product shot. She ignored it at first, figuring it was another DM from a follower asking what filter she used for yesterday's Empowerment Glow video. But the name flashing across the screen wasn't Instagram. Langston Properties, leasing office. She picked up, flipping her hair back instinctively. "Hi, this is Lila." A pause. Then a voice, flat and clinical. "Miss Reynolds, this is Carla from Langston Properties. We've received notice that your guarantor has formally withdrawn from the lease of Unit 4B. As of this morning, your tenancy is considered unsecured." Lila blinked, frowning. "I'm sorry, what? My what?" "Your guarantor, Mr. Marcus Reynolds. He filed the withdrawal documents last night." She let out a tight, forced laugh. "Oh, no. That's probably just some mix-up. My husband handles all that lease stuff. We live here together." A beat. "Not anymore," Carla said simply. The words hit with surgical precision. Hold on. What does that even mean?" Lila stood up, pacing, the skincare bottles forgotten. "He can't just cancel it. We're married." "Correct," Carla said. "Which is why this isn't an eviction. You're not being forced out. However, without a valid guarantor on file, your lease reverts to month at market rate." Lila swallowed. "And what is market rate?" $3,485, due in 2 days. She almost dropped the phone. "Excuse me? We've never paid that much." "Correct. Your previous lease was under a long-term fixed agreement. That agreement is no longer valid." Lila clicked over to her banking app with a trembling thumb. She hadn't checked it in days. Her last deposit from a brand collab had been late, and she'd been waiting on a reimbursement for a canceled flight to Austin. Account balance, $43.22. Pending, $112.14 from an affiliate sale. Available now, $0. She blinked. Hit refresh. Still $43. "Miss Reynolds," Carla asked politely, "do you have any questions?" Lila didn't respond. Her eyes were locked on the screen, heart thudding like an unedited live stream. I'll talk to my husband, she muttered. There's no way he meant to do this. We live together. He wouldn't just pull his name off something without telling me. He did, Carla replied. We have the documents. Notarized. Filed. Ownership was transferred months ago. But the building, he said his company just managed it. His company owns it, Carla corrected. It's listed under Wisteria Urban Holdings. He's the managing partner. Lila stared blankly at the skincare bottles lined up in front of her. Serums, toners, all labeled with pastel fonts promising clarity and radiance. She felt neither. Thank you, she said finally, then hung up before Carla could respond. The apartment felt different, colder, like the walls had shifted just a fraction out of place. She turned toward the hallway, expecting to hear Marcus in his office, typing away like usual. Nothing, just silence. She walked toward the door and peeked inside. Empty, his desk clear, laptop gone. Framed photo of them in Venice? Removed. Her breath caught. She opened the closet. His side was mostly empty. Jackets gone. Dress shoes missing. One pair of work boots remained, but the laces were cut. Okay, she whispered. Okay. What the hell is happening? She called his cell. Voicemail. Again. Voicemail. She opened the joint calendar they used to manage grocery lists and dog grooming. Access denied. She typed into the building portal. Your account has been deactivated. She stood in the center of the apartment, staring at the ring light she'd left on the night before, the soft glow mocking her. She was supposed to film another video today. Something about setting boundaries. Something about owning your truth. But now the truth was owning her. And the boundary was a legal line she'd never bothered to read. First, she tried to spin it. Lila stood in front of her phone, camera tilted slightly above eye level, ring light on its softest setting. Her voice was calm, her tone righteous. So, I just want to say something real quick because there's been a lot of noise in my DMs, and I feel like I owe y'all the truth. Relationships are complicated, right? Sometimes people grow apart, and when one person's light starts to shine, the other might try to dim it. She paused, let the words hang. And if someone wants to leave, that's on them. That's not failure. That's freedom. She hit post, and for an hour it worked. Her comments filled with the usual affirmations. Queen, stay strong, girl. He didn't deserve you anyway. Then someone asked the wrong question. Didn't your husband own the building though? Another comment followed. Wait, I thought Marcus was a property manager? Like the manager. Then, why are you acting surprised about rent? Didn't he literally buy the place? Lila's stomach twisted. She tried to delete a few, but for every one that disappeared, 2 more popped up. So, you mocked your landlord husband on TikTok while living in a place he owns? Girl. You dragged the dude who paid your rent and now you're shocked he's gone? The real shift happened an hour later. A user posted a screen-recorded stitch of her original viral video, next to a photo of Marcus from a local business magazine titled Quiet Power, The Men Who Own Half the Block. It had been taken a year earlier. Marcus in a navy suit, standing in front of the Wisteria building with a caption. Marcus Reynolds, Managing Partner, Wisteria Urban Holdings, LLC. The comments under that? Nuclear. Wait, Sachi lived in his building. This is embarrassing now. She faked being the breadwinner for clout. The podcast invitation vanished by afternoon. The host, who had gushed over Lila's raw authenticity, quietly deleted the Instagram story tagging her. The episode slot that had her name was replaced with new guest reveal coming soon. The skincare brand? Paused, pending contract review. Her inbox turned quiet. Her phone, dead silent, except for a single message. From a burner account. No profile picture. No name. It read, was it worth the video? Lila stared at it for a long time. She paced her apartment like a lioness in a cage, opening cabinets she didn't need, scrolling her own feed over and over like she could change the algorithm with sheer willpower. She tried calling Marcus again. Voicemail. She texted him. Can we talk? Just talk. Please. Nothing. She opened Instagram Live, hovered over the Go Live button, thought better of it. Instead, she posted a story, a black screen with white text. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is stay silent. 5 minutes later, a comment rolled in. You weren't silent when you mocked him. Another. Silence won't fix the lease, sweetheart. She felt her chest tighten. This wasn't criticism. This was isolation. The platform that once made her feel invincible was now turning her into a spectacle, an echo chamber with knives. She texted Sasha, her closest friend/manager. Need advice. Urgent. Sasha replied, just be honest. Clean it up before it gets worse. Call your lawyer. Lila stared at the message. Honest? Honesty meant admitting she had no idea what Marcus really did for a living. Honesty meant confessing she mocked a man who built the roof over her head while she danced beneath it, pretending she held the hammer. She closed her phone, sat on the edge of the couch, and for the first time since she hit post, she wished she hadn't. Lila slammed the heavy glass door to the lawyer's office with enough force to make the receptionist flinch. Her heels clicked across the tile like gunshots. She didn't wait for an invitation, just marched straight into the conference room. iPad in one hand, printed lease copy in the other, a manicured finger already jabbing at highlighted lines before the lawyer even sat down. I want to sue him, she barked. He can't just pull out of the lease and kick me out. That's not how marriage works. The attorney, mid-50s, thin gray tie, eyes like cooled steel, took the documents with a practiced sigh. He motioned for her to sit. She didn't. He flipped through the lease slowly, lips moving without sound as he traced his finger down the text. Half a minute passed, then a full minute. Then, you didn't read this, did you? Lila's eyes narrowed. I signed it. That's the same thing. No, he said flatly. It's not. He turned the lease toward her, tapping a section with a red underline. This was issued under Wisteria Urban Holdings. That's your husband's company. The actual lease names the management firm as the landlord. You and Marcus were co-tenants, but only he was the financial guarantor. The lease gave him full withdrawal rights at any time, provided he was also the guarantor. Which he was. I helped pay for that place, she snapped. I promoted it in my videos. I even tagged it on Instagram as our sanctuary. That has to mean something. He blinked. Once. Instagram tagging is not a legal clause. She froze. The lawyer pushed the lease aside, then opened a folder he'd printed off from public records. Inside, the ownership transfer document from 6 months ago, Marcus's name listed as managing partner. Below that, a transfer of property rights from the prior landlord. And beneath that, a digital resignation notice from Marcus submitted just last week. He resigned his position as guarantor 2 days ago. That triggered the clause you signed, Section 14.6b. In the event of guarantor withdrawal, co-tenants become month-to-month occupants at current market rate. Her throat dried. So what now? He leaned back, folding his hands. You have 2 options. Pay market rent or vacate. She laughed. Sharp. Hollow. And what's market rent now, huh? He didn't blink. $34.85. Monthly. First due in. He checked his watch. About 36 hours. That's more than double what we were paying. He shrugged. The area's gotten hot. Market follows demand. She stood, too fast, almost knocking the chair back. This is insane. There has to be a loophole. Something. I'm his wife. The lawyer raised a brow. You're legally married, but not listed on the property. Not on the deed. Not on the business. You weren't a signatory to the ownership transfer. You weren't a board member of Wisteria. You weren't even a named beneficiary in the management trust. I posted the damn building on my story for months. I got people to want to live there. He gave her a look reserved for particularly confused clients. Again, social media is not a legal document. Lila's arms dropped to her sides. Her voice softened, almost childlike. He never said a word, never even warned me. That's not illegal, he said quietly. It's just smart. She sank into the chair. The rage drained. The pressure dropped. What was left was something colder, heavier. Marcus had already left the board, left the lease, left the building, and now he was leaving her behind with the bill for a life she thought she was co-authoring. She blinked back the burn at the corners of her eyes. "There's got to be something I can do," she whispered. The lawyer stood, gathering the papers. "You could stay, but that requires actual payment." She stared down at the lease, at the paragraph she never read, the one she'd scrolled past to make dinner reservations, the one she signed in glitter ink and called a formality. Now it was a guillotine, and the blade had already dropped. It arrived on a Thursday, folded neatly in a plain white envelope slipped under the door. No fanfare, no signature, no drama. Just one sheet of paper. Subject: Notice to vacate 30 days. Tenant: Lila Reynolds. Issued by Langston Properties / Wisteria Urban Holdings, LLC. She stood holding it in her fingers like it was a misdelivered menu or a flyer for gutter cleaning. But the bold black letters didn't flinch under her stare. 30 days. 30 days until she was officially no longer welcome in the building where she once filmed A Day in the Life of a Boss Babe. 30 days until the ring light went dark, until the faux fur throw pillows were boxed, until the matching his and hers bathrobes, hers monogrammed, became just bathrobes. She sat down slowly, knees folding like they were made of string. The apartment was quiet. Too quiet. She hadn't gone live in a week. The last time she tried, someone commented, "How's the rent?" And her hands shook so badly she shut off the stream before even saying hello. The sponsorships had gone dry. The podcast ghosted her. Her branding manager texted, "Hey babe, just circling back," and then never circled again. She had sent one last message to Marcus that morning. "Can we talk? I miss you. I didn't think it would end like this." He hadn't read it. She read the notice again, like the words would change. 30 days. Market rate non-payment. Failure to secure updated lease terms. Removal pending. All in cold, neutral font. She used to be able to weaponize the internet. One passive-aggressive quote post and her followers would flood her comments with adoration. Now, crickets. The last TikTok she posted had more trolls than likes. One said, "Girl, you fumbled a man and a mortgage. Congrats." Even her mutuals, people she thought were safe, started quietly unfollowing her. She could see it in the numbers. The comments dried up. The DMs became silent. So she tried one last thing. She set up her phone on the coffee table, took a deep breath, wiped her face. Hit record. The light glowed blue. She stared into the lens for a long time before speaking. "Hey guys," she began, voice already trembling. "I haven't been on here much lately. I know a lot of you are wondering what's going on, and I wish I could tell you. I really do. But sometimes people aren't who you think they are." She swallowed. "Sometimes someone can live beside you, eat with you, sleep next to you, and still have an entire plan that doesn't include you at all." Her voice cracked. "I thought I was building something. Turns out, I was just standing on something he already built. And he waited for me to stomp on it before he pulled the plug." She paused, bit her lip. "But you know what?" she added, forcing a weak smile. "Maybe this is part of the journey. Maybe this is what healing looks like." She stopped the video, didn't watch it back, just uploaded it. 5 minutes later, Marcus saw it. He was in his truck, parked outside another property, helping a young couple move into their new place. They had no idea who he was online, no idea what had gone viral. He watched her video in silence. She was wearing the hoodie he left behind. She thought that was symbolic. It wasn't. It was old, faded, left on purpose. She said, "Sometimes people aren't who you think they are." He didn't comment, didn't text, didn't forward it, didn't quote tweet it with a laughing emoji. He just turned off his phone, then stepped out of the truck, walked back to the building, and opened the door for someone else. The sound of packing tape ripping across cardboard echoed through the empty apartment like a slow, reluctant farewell. Lila stood in the center of the living room, the same place she had once danced barefoot, filming empowered mornings with her smoothie and fake laugh. And now it was stripped bare. No artwork, no candles, just pale squares on the wall where her sponsorship plaques used to hang, and one chipped corner of paint behind the vanity light she never returned to the landlord. Her ring light sat unplugged in the corner. The bulb had burned out last week. She never replaced it. The movers were quiet, professional, a little too polite. Two men, mid-30s, barely glanced at her. She wasn't the girl from TikTok anymore. Just another tenant who stayed too long and left too late. Her suitcase sat by the door, overstuffed, the zipper tied with a shoelace. She hadn't even folded the clothes inside, just shoved them in. The panic had given way to numb efficiency. There was no longer time to salvage pride, only time to leave. The landlord arrived precisely at 11 a.m., clipboard in hand. Carla, the same woman from the phone call 2 weeks earlier. She nodded professionally, then walked through the unit, checking for damage. She didn't say much. She didn't need to. A light scratch on the counter, 2 bent blinds, a missing smoke detector battery. The usual. Then, here's the final invoice. She handed it over. Lila didn't even glance at the numbers. Her pen moved on its own, scratching a name she no longer recognized as her own. The ink bled slightly. She'd pressed too hard. Carla tore off the top copy and handed it to her. You'll receive a confirmation when deposit reconciliation is processed. If forwarding address isn't available, we'll send it to your email. Okay, Lila said quietly. She turned to grab her suitcase. One of the wheels caught on the edge of the rug that used to be Marcus's. The movers stepped forward to help, but she waved them off. She wanted to struggle, needed to. Something had to feel earned. She stepped out into the hallway, tugged the door shut behind her. Didn't lock it. Didn't need to. Out on the curb, a gray truck idled. She saw it immediately. It wasn't flashy. Wasn't a confrontation. It was parked across the street, near the loading zone. Marcus sat behind the wheel, sunglasses on, one hand resting on the window frame, elbow out, watching, not with hatred, not with smugness, just watching. She froze on the sidewalk, clutching the suitcase handle like it might anchor her to the moment. He didn't wave, didn't nod, just sat there unmoved. The movers loaded the last 2 boxes into the back of the van. One of them closed the trunk. The latch slammed shut. It echoed louder than it should have. Lila didn't speak. She just stood there, the final invoice folded in her bag, her phone on silent, her followers reduced to shadows. Marcus never got out of the truck. He never needed to. This wasn't revenge. No declarations. No moral victories. No final speech. Just the silence she used to mock him for. The quiet patience she mistook for weakness. Now it wrapped around her like fog. She turned away first. He waited 5 more minutes, then shifted into drive, and left without looking back. It was accidental. Or maybe not. Maybe life just has a sense of humor when it finishes the joke. Lila hadn't planned to be downtown that day. She didn't shop there anymore. Too many eyes, too many chances to be recognized and whispered about. The girl from the TikTok. The one who mocked her husband and got evicted. She hated the looks more than the silence. But she needed work. And someone in her former PR circle had offered a freelance gig, some off-brand perfume launch requiring faces with range. So she showed up, half hopeful, half hollow. And there he was, across the street, in front of a building with Wisteria's name stenciled in tasteful lettering above the door. The place looked new. Fresh awnings, polished glass, even flowers in those dumb little sidewalk pots she used to call a waste of budget. But Marcus liked them, said they mattered. He was standing with a couple, young, smiling, holding hands. He had a clipboard in one hand, keys in the other. Calm, grounded. The same man she once called boring on a molecular level. She watched for a minute, frozen. He laughed at something the guy said. Not big or loud. Just that dry, restrained chuckle he always gave when amused. The same one that used to annoy her. The one she hadn't heard in months. She stepped off the curb before she realized she was moving. Her feet carried her without permission. He turned before she spoke. She saw it in his posture, the subtle shift, the stillness. He'd seen her approaching before she'd decided to. Lila's throat tightened. Her voice cracked out anyway. Was this payback? He looked at her. Steady. Not cold. Not warm. Just steady. No, he said. Then a pause, like punctuation on a sentence she never wrote. Just balance. She didn't respond. Couldn't. Behind him, the new couple waited by the door, chatting quietly, unaware of the undercurrent between the two people blocking their path. Marcus turned toward them, handing over the keys with a polite smile. Unit 2C, he said. Congrats. Welcome home. The woman beamed. The guy shook his hand. And just like that, the transaction was done. Clean. Cordial. Lila stood there outside the glass. She caught her own reflection. Faded. Distorted by the sun's angle. Her hair wasn't styled. Her eyes were tired. She looked like a version of herself she used to filter out. Marcus walked inside. The door closed gently behind him. No slam. No final glare. Just a click and silence. Her reflection disappeared in the glass as he moved past. Not erased. Just irrelevant. That was the thing about Marcus. He never raised his voice. Never aired dirty laundry. He just reorganized reality while you were refreshing your notifications. And when it was all said and done, he didn't destroy you. He simply outgrew the version of himself that needed to explain anything.